Hello, welcome to the tutorial. In this tutorial, we will learn how to set up Odoo17 source code on Windows Server. So this is Windows Server 2019, and here I have wrote down some steps that would be involved to set up Odoo on the server. So here's a link available on the official website of Odoo, which will also guide you how to set up Odoo server or source code on your on-prem server. As well as there is another article available on this website. You can also read this article. This is very good article, but I found some key points missing in both of these articles, so I thought to create a new tutorial so to cover those missing things. So we'll start with Python installation. So this is the link, and don't worry about all these links. I'll provide all these information in the description of this video.
So first step is to download Python. We'll download it from their website, and I will download Python version 3.12 and not 3.13, which is the latest version. The reason why I'm downloading the 3.12 version is that 3.13 version, which is the latest version, is not stable as of today, and so that's why I tried installing Odoo or setting up Odoo with 3.13 version, but I faced lots and lots of issues, and which took lots and lots of time to figure out in the end that the Python version 3.13 was not I would say configurable, or it has many issues, so due to which I switched back to 3.12 version. So you can change the installation path if you want to, and you can make it a simpler path. While this is installing, I will download Postgres. I'll download 16.4 version of Postgres.
We downloaded Postgres setup, but we haven't installed it yet, so we will install Postgres. While all these setups are taking time to install, I have to jump back to my local desktop because this recorder I'm using is set up on my local machine, because there was no microphone attached with this server PC, so that's why I had to run the recorder on my local desktop. So I have to switch back again and again to stop recording, to pause recording actually. Meanwhile, these setups are taking time to record. So all these options should be checked. Okay, so you can type any password here. I'll type Odoo, and let me write down that password so that I may not forget that later. And this should be the default port, and click OK, click next. Okay, as simple as that. So again, it will take a couple of minutes, so meanwhile I have to pause the recording, and I'll resume again once this setup is done. So our setup has been completed, and this is another pop-up which is being shown when the previous setup is completed. So click on finish here, click Postgres 17, click next, and here in the database drivers you have to select all these database drivers. Okay, think that's it. Let me confirm with the other article if it says something else. No, I think we are good with this option. Click on next, next. Okay. So again, it will take a couple of minutes and it will install those 4 setups that we have selected one by one. So now it's downloading the first setup and then it will download the other one and then also install all these setups one by one. This is actually stack builder. Click on next. So first setup installation has been started. Click on finish. Now our second setup will be started. This is our second setup. Click on finish. Now the third setup. Next. Finish. Okay, finish. So all the setups has been installed. So now our next step is PG4 configuration. PG4. So open PG4 admin. And we need to create a new user here because the documentation says that the default user Odoo forbids connecting as Postgres, so that's why we have to create a new PostgreSQL user. So here we will create a new user. Okay. Type the password that we saved during the installation of Postgres. What was that? It was Odoo. Okay. So now right click on login, create group roles, click on login group roles creation. You'll create a user with the name of Odoo. Type a password here. And you need to select all these checkboxes so that the user has maximum privileges. Click on save. Okay, so our user has been created. So now the next step is to install Visual Studio build tools. We already downloaded this file. Here is the file. We just need to open it and install it. Continue. So now again it will take a couple of minutes to download and then to install. Okay, so what options do we have to select here? According to this document, it says this one, the first option, and from this description it says, okay, select this one and uncheck this Windows 11 SDK. then I think we are good to install. We will choose download all and then install. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video recording. So once this is done, I'll come back and resume from there. So it says operating system is not supported, but we'll still continue and we'll still install this setup on our server. So now the actual installation has been started. Okay, so Visual Studio Bit tools are installed. Now what's next? Next step is to download Odoo source code. So if you open this link, you'll find all the versions of Odoo. Odoo 18 is the latest one. We are going to install 17. So here for each of these versions, there are two options available. One is a community and the other is enterprise version. So community version is the version which anyone can open this link and download simply and use it. But the enterprise version is not available for everyone. It is only available for the persons who are authorized to download this version. And who is authorized? Obviously, Odoo partners are officially authorized to download this enterprise version. So you can download any one of these versions. There is another link which is available on the GitHub. So if you go to this link, so here this is also the community source code. Here you can see all the other versions or the previous versions are available: 16, 15, 17, and the latest one is 18. So if you go here and copy this link and download anywhere in your local system or desktop or anywhere in your local drive, then you'll get the whole source code, which will be including all the versions, all the previous versions as well. But if you want to download only a specific version, then you have to select that branch, and if you click download zip, it will only download that specific branch which is being shown here as selected. So this is another way of downloading the source code. Okay, so there is another link again which is for enterprise, and again this enterprise link is only available and it will only work for the persons who are authorized to download this enterprise version. So what we will do for now, we will actually download the enterprise version from here, but to start this download I have to fill this performa, and it will verify my email and the company, and if those details are valid, then it will allow me to download this setup. Okay, so the most important thing, choosing the destination folder. By default, sometimes it selects the program files folder, but you have to be very careful at this step that you okay, so maybe you can create a new folder for this, and it would be odoo17 ep, means enterprise. But the main thing which matters here is that the destination folder should not contain any space in the name of any of the folder. So here I have created a new folder. By default, I'm telling you, it selects this program files folder, which will create issues for you later. So you have to change this path. So wait for this setup to get completed and then we'll move forward. Okay, so Odoo setup has been completed, and we don't want to start Odoo because we don't want to run it from the server it has installed. We actually want to run it through the source code. And let me show you the server which was installed by this setup. If I press O in the services, you will see this Odoo server running here. You can stop this simply because we are not going to use this. We are actually going to use the source code to run our Odoo. Okay, so here's the folder in the C drive which we created during the installation, and here in the server, and again in the Odoo, here is the source code which we actually require. Here are the add-ons or the modules. Okay, so next step after the downloading of Odoo is the installation of Pycharm. Here another thing, if you don't have license or key for Pycharm Professional, then maybe you can skip the professional version of Pycharm and simply you can scroll down this page a little bit and you will find the community version of Pycharm. So you can download simply the community version. It also works well for the development purposes. So I am also downloading the community version. So these little tips and tricks are not mentioned in those tutorials, obviously. For example, as I was installing Odoo, and I told you that you should not install Odoo in the default suggested folder, which is program files folder. So you have to change that installation folder. So these little small tips and tricks are not mentioned. Even I didn't find anywhere else. So I thought to make this tutorial and mention those little tips and tricks. Okay. So while it's downloading, what are our next steps? After the installation of Pycharm, the only thing which will be left would be configuring Odoo source code in Pycharm. Okay, this was an old setup. Anyways, okay, the setup has almost downloaded. Pycharm. Okay, click next, and select all these checkboxes. Click next. Again, it will take a couple of minutes to install. I'm again going to pause the video and I'll resume as soon as the installation gets completed. Okay, so the setup has been completed. We don't want to reboot now. We will do the reboot later. Okay, so now we'll open Pycharm and try to set up the source code inside Pycharm so that we can run it from the source code from Pycharm. For the very first time when the Pycharm loads the source code, it takes time, sometimes half an hour, to do the indexing and scan the modules, etc. Click on open and click on, okay, this is the folder that we want to open inside Pycharm. Okay. Okay, here in the bottom you can see it is doing the background tasks that are updating the indexes and scanning files to the indexes and scanning the module. So it will take some time, and once these background tasks are completed, then I will start working on it further.
Alright, to do the configurations and setting the things in Pycharm, we'll open Pycharm. So here Pycharm is open, we click on open button and then we'll open our source code inside Pycharm. So on the left side you can see the source code will be loaded, and it will take a couple of minutes to do the indexing and scanning of files. Maybe it will take 10 minutes or 20 minutes or half an hour. After that is done, we will add interpreter, or you can say we will add the create the virtual environment. So you can see these background tasks are in progress. Once these background tasks are done, we will create our virtual environment. Okay, so to create the virtual environment, we'll click on interpreter, add new interpreter, add local interpreter, and here you have to select the path of your source code folder and click on OK. It will create a folder which will be shown on the left side shortly. You will see on the left side a VENV means virtual environment folder will be shown on the left side. Now open the terminal and you will see the difference that it will also show you that it is in virtual environment, means the virtual environment we have created is activated. And now the next step and the last step is to add the configuration file, and here we need to mention a couple of things. First of all, we will rename this file to any name, like we can rename it to odoo17 EP for example. And then next step is to set up the bin path folder here, and then we have to set up the scripts folder, which is the config file path. We'll paste it here. And thirdly and lastly, we have to set up the working directory path. So I wrongly pasted the path here. I will correct this later. Okay. Actually, the path was not copied. When I tried to copy it from Notepad, it was not copied, but I'll do that correction later. So the next step is, the last step is to configure some parameters in the config file. We have to mention the add-ons path, add-ons folder path in that config file, and also the database user and the database password that we set up during installation of our Postgres, and also that user that we created when we created a new user in pg admin for Postgres. So I have opened this config file odoo.config, and here first of all I will copy the add-ons path folder. I will go to C drive and go to server folder, and then in the Odoo folder go back in the Odoo folder, and here we have the add-ons folder. So we'll copy the path of this add-ons folder. This is the most important step. The default path is obviously different, and which is not correct, so we have to mention the correct add-ons path folder, and then we will check or replace the the DB user and the DB password here. And also the last thing we can change here is the port on which Odoo will run. So the default port is normally 8074 or 8072, and I have changed it to 8075, and that's all we need. These are the only changes we have to do in the config file. And last step is to install the necessary modules. So how we can install those necessary modules? By this command, pip install -r, and the path of the requirements.txt file. Requirements.txt file is the file which contains which contain all the dependencies required, all the packages required to run Odoo. So we have to install all those dependencies, and to install those dependencies we need to run this command. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to locate that requirement file that is present inside the server folder. So we need to explicitly give the correct path and click enter. So it will again take, I guess, 10 to 15 minutes or maximum 20 minutes to install all the dependencies. And once all the dependencies are installed, we will be able to run our Odoo. And again, when I was setting up parameters in the configuration file, I told you I wrongly mentioned the working directory. So we need to correct that source working directory path, and once that working directory path is corrected, we are all good to run our Odoo inside the browser. Sometimes when you install these requirements and you try to run Odoo ERP, sometimes it gives you an error that a package is missing, and sometimes that package is setup tools package. You can install that package manually by using the same command, pip install pip space install space setup tools. And also there is another package which depends, I mean, if you got that error, you can manually install the left out packages which are due to some reason maybe not installed when we run this requirements command. Okay, so the requirements are installed. Now if I try to run this, it will go into a state where it will not do anything, but it will keep on trying to open or trying to run the server. You can see here the path is incorrect, the working directory path is incorrect. We need to correct that path. I'm trying to run this and it will still it will stuck in this state and it will not run due to that wrong working directory path. Okay, so ERP was stuck, so I have to close Pycharm, and later on I found that I was doing a mistake. I was actually mentioning the wrong working directory source directory path in the config file. So I reopened Pycharm and I corrected that path. The correct path should not have any /, and my path was containing a / as well as an extra attribute, or you can say parameter -c in the source directory path. You can see the configuration file. So I'll correct this path and then So you have to also remove the / and you also have to remove this -c. So now the path is correct, and now if we will run the ERP, it will simply run. Okay, so ERP was stuck, so I have to close Pycharm, and later on I found that I was doing a mistake. I was actually mentioning the wrong working directory, source directory path in the config file. So I reopened Pycharm and I corrected that path. The correct path should not have any /, and my path was containing a / as well as an extra uh, attribute, or you can say parameter, -c in the source directory path. You can see the configuration file. So I'll correct this path, and then so you have to also remove the / and you also have to remove this -c. So now the path is correct, and now if we will run the ERP, it will simply run.
Naseem Shah JP.
भाई यार उससे ना वो कह रहे थे जो कैटलॉग साइट है ना, ये कैटलॉग साइट है, वो कह रहे हैं जब बंदा आपको अगर सर्च करे ना तो मुझे वो कैप्चर कर सकती है और सेव करवाना ताकि फ्रेंड देख सको कि क्या क्या चीज़ें आप वहाँ पे क्या करना, वो चेक करना। तो आईजी ने उसके ऊपर सजेशन ये दी हुई है कि आप जो क्या करें, ये जब वो बंदा इधर विजिट करें ना इस साइट को, यही है ना राइट, ठीक है। वो कह रहा है कि आप उसने तो वैसे कहा कि YMMP, उसने तो वैसे यूज़र ने ये 3 चीज़ें कही हैं, उसने तो 3 दिन नहीं कहा है, ठीक है। लेकिन आगे की सजेशन ये है कि जब वो इधर सर्च करता है ना, ये गो का बटन प्रेस करता है, जो भी ये पैरामीटर है।
All right. So as you know that our Odoo has been set up in the server and it's perfectly running in the browser. So there is a limitation, and that limitation is that if you want to run Odoo from your local machine, you cannot do that because right now I am in the virtual machine where I have set up Windows Server and I have set up Odoo, but you cannot access this Odoo from your local machine, and there is a need to run Odoo from your local machine because I want, or your organization wants, multiple users or all the users to be able to access Odoo from their systems, from their local machines, from their laptops. So right now, if I try to run Odoo from my local machine, I would not be able to do that. This is the port number. I set up Odoo on this port number, and this is the IP address of the server on which I set up the Odoo. But if I try to access Odoo through this address, port IP and port number, I'm not able to do that. So to achieve this, we have to make a small change. So this is a bonus step, and that is we need to create a firewall inbound rule. So you have to open Windows Firewall from the start menu and click on advanced settings, and here you have to create an inbound rule. So you'll click on inbound rules, and then on the right side you will click on new rule. Okay, so we want to forward a port which is 8075. So 8075, click next, allow the connection, yes, okay, next, and port Odoo port forwarding, finish. So we have created the rule, and that's all we have to do to be able to access Odoo from our local system. So now I'll try to access the Odoo from my local machine and see if it works. So there was a typo in the URL. The URL was the IP address was not 105, it was only 5. So when I corrected that, so now you can see I am able to access Odoo from a local machine. So all the team members, all the organizational members who are in the same in this domain can run Odoo by just simply using this port. They can run Odoo on their systems. So this was a bonus tip that I wanted to share. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial.